Hi, this is Michael Buffer, and welcome to the BoxHard Podcast.
Hello, everyone. This is Mikey Garcia.
Yo, it's your boy, the odd guy himself, Malik King Scott.
Hi, I'm Charlie Edwards.
This is Fast Eddie Chambers, and you're listening to the BoxHard Podcast with my main man, Joey Coastman.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 34 of the BoxHard Podcast. I'm your host, Joey Coastman. I'm joined, as always, by Ayaz Sumra. Ayaz, how you doing?
I'm good, Joey. How are you?
Very good, very good. As always, we're going to roll straight into part one. We're going to start over in Colombia. Darlis Perez, he got out again, of course, trying to bounce back from that KO loss to Anthony Crolla. He got a KO for himself in the second round. This was up at 140, super lightweight, of course. Darlis Perez now moves to 33 wins. He's obviously got the 2 losses and the 1 draw, so he'll be looking to bounce back and get back in that picture. We're now going to go straight over to New Zealand. Top of the bill, a big heavyweight clash. We had him on our show last week. Joseph Parker, he was in a final eliminator to become mandatory for Anthony Joshua's IBF title. So Joseph Parker, top the bill. He faced Carlos Takam. Now, Joseph Parker 18-0 going into this fight. Carlos Takam 33-2 with a 1 draw. It ended up being a tough fight, this actually. It was shown on Sky Sports. It was on Saturday. It was about 11 o'clock in the morning. I think it was 11:30 a.m. possibly. They had Dillian White in the studio. And Joseph Parker, this really showed everybody that he can tough it out. And no one looks amazing against Carlos Takam. Carlos Takam, very experienced, tough guy. And he didn't stop coming forward the whole time. So admittedly, Joseph Parker didn't put in a punch-perfect performance, but he showed he can tough it out and get past big tests in the heavyweight division. So I think his stocks have gone up after that fight. So he extends his win streak to 19-0. He's got the 16 knockouts. So unanimous decision win after 12 rounds there. Also on that bill, I'm not sure if you saw it, Ayaz. If you haven't, then you need to go and check it on YouTube. I can't remember the guy's name. This guy got a knockdown on that card, and I don't know what his name was, but he knocked the guy down and he jumped on the top rope and he fell straight over it and climbed under the bottom one again. Have you seen it at all? He's running around Twitter.
No, I haven't seen it yet, Joey.
Ayaz, I'm going to tag you in it, mate, after this, because I tell you what, it was absolutely hilarious. Anyway, back to the show. We're now going to leave New Zealand. We're going to go straight over to Russia. Top of the bill over there, Denis Lebedev. I knew he was going to win this pretty comfortably. He fought Victor Emilio Ramirez. Now, this was a unification fight up at cruiserweight. Ramirez put his IBF title on the line and Lebedev put his WBA super title on the line. Ramirez was down in the second round. He got back up and took a little bit more punishment, to be honest, from Lebedev, and the referee waved off the bout. So Lebedev, a big win for him, getting the TKO so early. So Lebedev extends his record to 29 wins now and the 2 losses. So Ramirez dethroned of his title. I didn't think he was going to reign for too long after that fight, what was very controversial with Oval McKenzie. Also on that bill, Umar Salamov, he had a nice record of 15-0 going into this fight with our very own Bob Ajisaf. He extended it to 16-0. I believe it was quite a close fight, closer than the judges had it. It was a unanimous decision win for Umar Salamov. It was for the vacant IBO world title, not really a belt that's recognised as one of the top belts, but apparently it was quite a close fight. So all the best to Bob Ajisaf there. It's good for him to get that opportunity. It was obviously over in Russia, but I'm sure he put in a good performance there and put in a good account of himself. So hopefully we see Bob Ajisaf bounce back from that with a couple of wins back in UK, of course. But no, nonetheless, you can't take nothing but good things from a close fight over in Russia against an undefeated fighter. So good stuff there from Bob Ajisaf. Moving down that card, Dmitry Bivol, he moved to 7-0. He picked up a unanimous decision win after 12 rounds, and he defended successfully his interim WBA World Light Heavyweight title against Felix Valera, who had a record of 13-0 going into this fight. So his O has been taken. He's now got a record of 13-1. That's it for Russia. We're now going to go over to the O2 Arena, of course, top of the bill, David Haye against Arnold the Cobra Gagaj, I believe his name is. Now, Gagaj was down once in the first round. Personally, I think that David Haye could have stopped it there and then, and he went down twice in the second round. One of those knockdowns coming from a jab. He was very, very, very poor from the Cobra. He was dreadful, to be totally honest. David Haye looked himself. He did what we all thought he was going to do, I believe. O2 Sports on Twitter were actually doing a little competition. What do you think the fight outcome's going to be? Is David Haye going to win? If so, what round? Is it going to go to points? Is it going to be a knockout? I actually said the second round. I think there was 3 of us who said the second round, and I actually won a David Haye signed glove, so that'll be on its way to me shortly. But like I say, I didn't see it going past the second round. Ayaz, did you manage to catch that David Haye fight? I watched it on TV. What did you think of the fight at all?
Yeah, I watched the fight. I reckon it was, to be honest, it was like the same, like a Mark Demori.
Yeah, to be honest, I don't even think this guy had as big of a name as Mark Demori. I think he didn't bring anything to the table. I know he got past the first round at least, but he was dreadful as. And we're still not really seeing anything from David Haye to suggest how good he is yet. We've still just seen 3 rounds from him in about 4 years. So it's impressive to get another knockout and another early knockout and another devastating knockout from David Haye. We're still not really seeing anything from him, Ayaz. What do you think? Who do you want to see him in? I know that he's now going to be fighting Shannon Briggs, because Shannon Briggs was also on the bill. We'll mention his result in a minute. That's supposed to be happening in September, Shannon Briggs said last week on our show. So is that a fight where you think we're going to see what David Haye has left, or do you think even Shannon Briggs won't be able to pose enough threat to David Haye?
I don't think Shannon Briggs is going to pose enough threat to David Haye. I reckon a fight that we'll see what's the best of David Haye, yeah? What's he got left in the tank? Is someone like a Eric Molina or a Dillian White.
Yeah, there's a lot of guys, not even just domestically in Dillian White, but there's a lot of guys. Eric Molina is a good shout. There's a lot of opponents, to be honest. European, someone like Pulev, someone like that. I'd like to see him in a lot of these fights, but I don't think they're going to happen. We'll have to wait and see what happens with that. So I'm going to mention, of course, Shannon Briggs. He picked up a KO in the first round, so he picked up his 60th career win, and I believe his 37th first round knockout. He hit the guy with some serious punches. I know the guy only had about 3 days notice. I think the same guy got stopped by Hughie Fury in a round, so he comes straight over from Argentina with a 3 days notice. I don't even think he was adjusted to the time zone, so we couldn't really expect much from Emilio Ezekiel Zarate, but Shannon Briggs done the business, and you can only beat who's in front of you, so he got the win there. Also on the bill, Nick Webb, the undefeated heavyweight prospect. He was 5-0 going into his fight on the weekend, 5-0 with 5 first round knockouts. He moved to 6-0. This time he went to points. It was only a 4-rounder, but he won on points after 4 rounds. So Nick Webb now 6-0. Also on that bill for the vacant English middleweight title, Joe Mullender. He was fighting for it, of course, going into this fight with a record of 9-1. He fought tough man Lee Markham. Lee Markham picked up the win unanimously after 10 rounds. So Lee Markham, the new English middleweight champion. Congrats to him. And also on that bill, a fight I should mention, we're going to be speaking to him very, very shortly. Joe Fournier, he went into his fight 3-0 with 3 knockouts, and he moved to 4-0 with 4 knockouts. So he picked up his TKO in the second round against a guy who had 14 wins and 8 losses, Bella Juhaz. I don't know much about him, obviously, but Joe Fournier, first fight on British soil. Again, another knockout. His opponent was down twice in the second round. Good shots from Joe Fournier. He looked quite impressive out there. And of course, he picks up his 4th KO in 4 fights, all 4 knockouts within 2 rounds. So another little stat there for Joe Fournier. So good stuff from him. That's it for the UK. We're now going to fly over to the USA. There's one fight I want to mention on one card. The lightweight prospect Devin Haney, he moved to 6-0 with a TKO in the 4th round over 4-0 undefeated fighter Jairo Vargas Fernandez. So Devin Haney, really, really good prospect. We need to keep our eyes peeled on him, Ayaz. That'll be a household name coming up soon, believe me. That's it for that one in Las Vegas. We're now going to go over to another part of Las Vegas where there was a triple world title card that was picked up at the last minute by Box Nation. Erislandy Lara topped the bill against Vanes Martirosyan. Erislandy Lara, of course, defending his WBA World Super Welterweight title, the 154 title. This was a good fight. I stayed up to watch this one. It started about 4:30, I believe, 5 o'clock in the morning, something like that. Erislandy Lara, he took one of those big sort of, I've forgotten the name while we're on air, to be totally honest, but one of those big lumps, like where the bump comes out of your forehead. He had one of those. I completely forgot what it's called. It looked pretty ugly come the end of the fight, but he managed to pick up a unanimous decision win after 12 rounds. Martirosyan put in a good performance. Everybody thought he was going to do so as well. Martirosyan, a real elite fighter in that 154 category, and a tough fight for anyone. Martirosyan's a real good fighter, but that was it for that fight. Moving down that bill, Jermall Charlo, of course, the IBF World Super Welterweight champion, 23-0 his record going into this fight. It was always going to be a tricky one. He fought Austin Trout. Austin Trout, 30 wins, 2 losses. Austin Trout, again, put in a good performance, but Jermall Charlo really, really impressed me. He was able to sort of get past the slickness of Austin Trout. Austin Trout didn't have a fantastic start to the fight. I think as it was going on a bit, during some of the late rounds, Austin Trout did find some good punches. He put some good punches together, but he didn't trouble Charlo. And Charlo, he just done the business, really. He done the business, and this is a fantastic defense of him. I myself I've been reluctant to jump the gun too much with Jermall Charlo. I didn't think he'd fought some fantastic opposition, but this really is a truly elite fighter. I believe in Austin Trout. I think Austin Trout's a great fighter, and this is a fantastic win, and this is the biggest win of his career. This is a real marquee name to add to his record. So Jermall Charlo, he defends successfully his IBF World Super Welterweight title and moves to 24-0. So he's a good fighter for anyone in the 154 division. Now his brother was also on the bill, Jermell Charlo, his twin brother. So Jermell Charlo was fighting for the vacant WBC World Super Welterweight title. Of course, he was fighting against John Jackson. John Jackson, the son of Julian the Hawk Jackson. So John Jackson had a record of 20-2. Jermall Charlo had a record of 27-0. This was a really, really, really good fight, actually. John Jackson was winning this fight. He was doing really, really well, John Jackson, landing some good punches on Jermall Charlo. Jermall Charlo didn't mug himself off at all. He was fighting well. He wasn't losing rounds easily. The rounds were all tightish rounds, but you'd have to edge them to Jackson, definitely. John Jackson landing the more meaningful punches. He was switching it up a little bit as well. He was going from head to body really well, and he landed some great punches, John Jackson. But Charlo, he's class. There's no two ways about it. Now, in the 8th round, Jermall Charlo threw a punch at John Jackson. It seemed to hit him straight on the left eye, and he seemed to put his glove up and kind of rub his eye, sort of thing. I don't know what it was about. When after the fight, he tried to say that it took his mouthpiece out of place and he was trying to put his mouthpiece back in, but I didn't see that on the replay at all. It seemed to hit his eye, and with his glove, he's kind of rubbed his eye as if to see if there was bleeding or something. And when he's rubbed his eye, he turned away, and then that's when Jermall Charlo's landed a big hook and one more punch. Just basically, he wasn't protecting himself. He turned away, and the referee had to stop it. So I'm not quite sure what happened, to be honest. From John Jackson's point of view, the doctor jumped in straight away. He asked him what day of the week it was, where they were, and John Jackson knew what was going on, so he didn't actually lose consciousness or anything, despite it looking really, really horrible, to be honest. Really horrible scenes, the 2 big punches from Charlo. But like I say, John Jackson, he was winning the fight, and he got knocked out in the 8th round, so very, very unlucky, John Jackson. I believe he was beating Andy Lee until Andy Lee knocked him out with that phantom, well, not a phantom punch, but the punch from the gods. It was an incredible punch. So Jermall Charlo picks up the WBC title. So two brothers now, two twin brothers, both world champions in the same weight division. I'm not sure how many times that's been done in the past. I think that's some sort of record somewhere. I don't believe that had happened for absolutely years. So fantastic for Jermell Charlo there. So I'm pleased for him. And John Jackson was really, really, really gracious in defeat in the interview after the fight. You know, he's a proper gent, John Jackson. He really is. So all the best to him. Very, very unlucky once again from him. And Jermell Charlo, of course, picks up that belt and extends his winning record to 28-0. Also on that bill, former world champ Bebut Shumanov. He actually managed to get a fight at cruiserweight for the vacant WBA World Cruiserweight title. So 4 world titles on this card were at stake here. So Bebut Shumanov managed to pick up the TKO in round 10. He fought Junior Anthony Wright, who had a record of 15-1 with the 1 draw. And Bebut Shumanov picked up his 17th career win, and this is the 2nd title he's held now. So he's got the belt in the cruiserweight division. I'm not sure who we should see him in there with. Bebut Shumanov's actually a good fighter on his day, definitely. But it'll be interesting to see who they match him with. Linnell Bellows was supposed to be on this bill, but his fight got postponed. BJ Flores moved to 32-2. Of course, he's got the 1 draw. This fight, believe it or not, this fight actually took place at heavyweight. So I'm not sure if BJ Flores is going to be campaigning at heavyweight. Pretty strange there, but yeah, this fight was at heavyweight, so BJ Flores picked up the unanimous decision after 6 rounds. It was only a 6-rounder. His opponent had a record of 12-3, so it was just one of those fights. Moving over now from Las Vegas to Texas, just one fight I want to mention before we end the review part of the show. Raimundo Beltran, he picked up his 30th career win with a KO in the 2nd round, so a good win for Beltran, one of the most unluckiest guys in boxing, to be honest. He's been on the wrong end of, I think, 2 decisions for world titles, so it'd be nice to see him get another shot. But that's it for the review part of the show. We're now going to welcome our first guest. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome our next guest on this week's show. If you were watching Dave on Saturday night, you'd have seen him open the show. It's none other than Joe Fournier. Joe, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me, buddy.
No worries, no worries. Now, the thing I wanted to ask you first, I already know the rundown of your life before boxing. So for those that may be listening that may not know, tell us how you made your living and still make a living doing outside of the ring.
So, yes, I started initially as a basketball player professionally, played for England, captain England, and then I opened up a few personal training studios. And then, got into nightclubs. So I had a bunch of different nightclubs. My current major club is Bonbonniere. That's just opposite Selfridges. And I box as well.
Now, the first question after that has to be, Joe, you make exceptional money outside of the ring. Why do you want to get in there with people who want to punch you in the face? It's certainly not about the money for you.
To be honest with you, I always had a very big sporting background. As a schoolboy level, I played cricket, rugby and basketball for England. So I've always been a competitor. And as you get older, you lose your way in a lot of ways, from a fitness standpoint, from a drinking too much standpoint. So boxing initially was just a way to get fit again. My first ever bar, I worked, Barry Jones was my boss, the WBO and IBF world champion. And, he got me into it, and he used to take me, to the gym with him and train a little bit. So I've been around boxing a long time. And I always remember thinking, what people don't realize is I've done all the sports at the highest level. And boxing is definitely the hardest sport to train for, because you have to make so many sacrifices and commitments. So as you get older, going for a jog or going to the gym doesn't really shed those pounds. So that's how it started. I wanted something extreme that I could get my head around. But after doing, a bunch of unlicensed fights and white collar and whatnot and being undefeated for so long, my coach, Spencer from the 5th Street Gym in Miami, said, look, because your last 5 camps have all been done with professionals, sparring professionals. He goes, you're a professional. You're just, not wearing, 10-ounce gloves. So you should just, take that step. So I did, and here we are.
What has the transition been like for you? Because obviously you've got this reputation as a little bit of a party boy, and now we see you've got in tremendous shape, and obviously you're under the guidance of David Haye. How does that work for you, Joe?
Well, to be honest with you, I'm not a party boy. I am someone that has built a business around, nightlife and hospitality. I actually don't really drink a great deal, I'm like everyone else. I've had my months and weeks where I've had a bit of a bender, but generally, I've never done drugs, I've never smoked. So I've been generally quite a healthy lifestyle person. With regards to boxing, why I get in such good shape is I can't recreate an amateur career, right? So I can't let fitness or power be something that I can control. I can't have that not be 100%. So if all the attributes that I can control, I can make 100%, and the ones that I can't control are what they are, then at least I'm giving myself the best opportunity to do the best I can, whatever that is, With regards to David Haye, he's my manager, he's my mentor. He's someone that is, that saw my talent and really wanted to help me go to the next level. And to be honest with you, he has such a brilliant, smart way of looking at boxing in the sense of strategic, like how to fight. And, I throw a lot less punches. I don't know if you saw in the fight on Dave how patient I was. Whereas my other professional fighters probably a bit more aggressive, a bit more gung-ho. And he explained to me, he goes, make your punches count. If it's a jab, make sure it hurts. If it's the right hand, make sure it's, there's power in it. And if you look at the way he fights, I took a lot of that. Also just changing my stance a little, moving back to my back leg where you get that more explosive power. So he's been great. And a lot of the head movement, I picked up from just watching him train and his work ethic. And, it's been brilliant, actually, because being in the ring, in and around the world champion, ex-world champion, are things that you can't pay for. You can't buy that. And I think my last camp, I probably improved, tenfold between the time I did with DeGale at the Fifth Street Gym in Miami, doing some sparring down there with him before his fight, and then the time I did in London with Shane McGuigan and David Haye and Steve Broughton, his coach there. So it's been, I can't thank all of them enough that have brought me along so much in the last 3 months.
Now, of course, your first 3 fights took place in the Dominican Republic. How did that come about? Because that's a bit crazy looking at it like that.
Well, I live in Miami half the year, so my home gym is the Fifth Street Gym, the famous Fifth Street Gym where Muhammad Ali used to train down in South Beach. And obviously, I'm a nobody, right? I'm still relatively a nobody in the world of boxing. There's way better, bigger, more famous fighters than me. So for me to get on an undercard is difficult. I don't really bring a lot to the table because I don't have an Olympic, amateur pedigree. And I'm very heavy-handed, so I'm unlicensed, records, lots of knockouts. So people don't really fancy it either, if you know what I mean. So it's sort of like, well, there's no upside fighting a guy like me, especially at the very beginning. So Dino has 5 or 6 fighters that go down to the Dominican Republic and fight, every other month on their shows down there. So because he was taking already a few fighters, he said, look, just put this guy on the card. He'll fight for $200, tiny little purse, just get him a fight. And that's how it started. So that's why I had to do a few there just to get my record up, just fighting. I didn't even know my fighter until I got to the arena. A bit like, the movie Creed, where he just fights in those pubs in Tijuana in Mexico. It was a bit like that. I literally got there, like, you're fighting this guy. And I fought, and, it was a sanctioned professional fight. And that's how I sort of got my stripes, so to say.
Now, of course, you've had 4 fights now. You've stopped all 4 opponents within 2 rounds. You've done a job on that guy the other night on live TV in the 2nd round. How did it feel in there? And also, how did it feel to be fighting on home turf for the first time as well?
You know what? I can't thank everyone in there, the support. Like, I'm telling you, like, it was electric. The atmosphere was unbelievable. I can't thank Haymaker Promotions and David Hayes enough because, I was throwing jabs and I hit with a few, but there's a couple I missed, but they looked like I hit. And just the crowd roaring behind you, even when you miss, you felt like you hit, it gave you that energy. Like, at no point there was I thinking, I'm tired or I'm not being, the support I had going from having no support in Dominican Republic from fighting home fights was like night and day. If I could choose, I'd fight home every single fight for the rest of my career. It was so unbelievable. And having all my schoolmates from Hounslow there, that came in 150 deep, my whole section, all my few posher mates are all ringside. My buddy Jose Mourinho that came and sat ringside with his family and came back in the changing room, gave me a good pep talk. All those people made such a difference and made it such a special night for me. And obviously, being a real sort of patriot Brit, hence I had Winston Churchill as my walkout song. I felt like a real sense of pride walking in. I felt like I was representing my country against a foreign fighter. You know, who's no joke. Like the guy's, 14 wins out of 21 fights, 22 fights. He's no journeyman with a winning record. He's not like some mug, So for me as a 3-0, it was a big step up. We didn't actually really want to take the fight, but we had the last minute replacement, and that's all that was available. So we were a bit like, oh Jesus, this guy's pretty heavy handed. He wins a lot. He had a 2-win winning streak. It's not really ideal for a 3-0 novice like me, But thankfully, we've done the hard work in the gym, and just the crowd supported me to make it, which looked like at the end a relatively easy night.
It's been well documented that you have a number of friendships with, some of these big celebrities. You just mentioned there, Mourinho. A lot of people were in the house for you. Were there any other people in the house that night? And if not, who is likely to be ringside next time you fight in the UK, Joe?
Well, for me, like I said, they're my friends. I know my buddy Lucas Podolski was out in Turkey. He actually had the day off, but he had training on 9 a.m. Sunday, so the flights didn't work. As it was known that Adriana Lima came to my debut in Dominican Republic, which was very nice. Obviously, she's a part of the Fifth Street Gym family. So yeah, hopefully they'll all be able to come to the next time, the next one, and I know 50 Cent loves boxing. He wished me luck, and some good guys that have been made to mine have come to my club and supported me, and they love. A lot of people love boxing. It's a very trendy sport right now, and it's something the way David Haye does it, and the shows where it's a bit of a night out. You've got the concert in the middle of the fight. You've got great undercard. You've got some great characters like Shannon Briggs. You had a British title fight, so the real integrity of boxing, where you had those boys going at it there, which was huge. And then we did the after party, in the arena at the Brooklyn Bowl with Fournier. So it's kind of like a night out. So my mates, even from Hounslow, that paid, £100 a ticket, were like, to be fair, it was a full on, you went to a boxing fight, a concert and a party all at once, and you got to support your mates. So doing it once every 3 months, it's worth it, So hopefully I'll be invited back and get to fight again.
Absolutely. Yeah, definitely. Sounds good for your money, to be totally honest there.
Yeah.
Now, your
exactly.
next fight's been lined up already, I believe. I believe you'll be fighting in Belgium on the 25th of June. You pretty much are fighting anywhere there's a fight offered to you. How many times do you look to fight this year, Joe?
To be honest with you, one of the perks of not having an amateur career is I haven't taken a lot of shots, big shots, and when you've done 100, 200 amateur fights, you do, it does affect you a little bit. So I feel fresh, like my body feels fresh, and I'd actually signed the Belgian fight before David's fight. Originally, it was something I'd agreed to beforehand, and as I only really did 2 rounds in this one, I thought, what, they gave me the option, so I could pull out, and I said no, let's keep the fight. My dream is to win a regional belt, right? Because I'm not delusional. I wouldn't disrespect the sport of boxing and the elite athletes from Britain and all over the world that have been boxing since they were 3 or 4 years old. To think that I'm not delusional to think I'd ever win a world title or compete, with the likes of, Callum Smith, guys that are going to change the game, in my opinion. That being said, I'd love to win. You do fight to win, and you fight to win belts. And so I'd love to win a regional belt of some sort one day. But really, you can only get into the contention for those things and build that respect through fighting more, I'm sure there's a lot of people doubting and critics, which I'd understand totally if I was reading it on the outside too. So I want to fight anywhere I can, as often as possible, because I want to keep learning. And every camp, I did a 12-week camp. No one does that for a 4-rounder, But I did it because it's 12 weeks of learning and education, because I still increase my skill set, And so I want to fight again to, fight in another foreign country to experience that. And I want to basically build my knowledge base as fast as possible to get into the 8, 9, 10-0, hopefully, if I keep winning, to then be in the mix for a regional, maybe say a WBC Mediterranean belt, or a regional UK title. Who knows, That's the plan. So that's why I'm pretty much taking what I'm offered.
I take it that you watch boxing quite often when it's on or whatever. What type of fighters at the moment do you enjoy watching most? Who would you say do you enjoy watching most in world boxing right now?
I have to say, I did some sparring, helping out James DeGale before he fought against Medina. And after being in the ring, with a current Olympic and world champion, I got to tell you, I learned more in the few rounds we did together than I'd done sparring everyone else I've ever sparred. And the way he goes from, orthodox to southpaw, the way he moves his feet, the way he can take a shot, like you hit a guy clean, he smiles at you. And I learned so much, and it really, really impressed me. And I'm actually, not that I will ever be able to replicate his talent, but I love his style. And I really, I don't know if you saw in my fight, I went southpaw for a little bit. I caught him with a nice left hook over the top. And I'm really, that really is very tricky. And to be able to defend and attack in both southpaw and orthodox, a bit like Tyson Fury does put the other fighter off. And also the hand speed. I've been heavy-handed for a very long time, but on this camp we work from speed as opposed to power because I have that naturally. So I learned a lot from DeGale. So I said DeGale is someone I really, really love watching. Obviously, Canelo, he's a star right now, and he's a big puncher, and I like the way he was very patient against Amir Khan. So I'd say I've been really learning a lot from the patience of Canelo. In the later round, his head movement, is really what got him close enough to hurt Amir Khan, because I thought Amir Khan's tactics were spot on. Unfortunately, in boxing, you get in the bath, you get wet. It happens. But yeah, I'd say Canelo and DeGale right now are two people I'm really looking at, and then being so close to Frampton and David Haye, obviously because we train in the same gym and the same coaching. It's been nice to see the way Frampton just generates so much power in short distances, on the pads, which has been brilliant. And then the way David really explodes and keeps the velocity through his punches, he punches right through things. So I'd say they're the four people I've been really sort of picking up tips from and being around. Yeah, they're the styles that I'm kind of liking and learning from. And it's great because, like I said, with regards to being a world champion, I'm a novice. And so it's brilliant learning a new skill. And every time I go to the gym, I pick something else up and I go home and I practice it on my own, So it's been a very enjoyable ride so far.
Yeah, you can't argue with those styles there. All four good fighters you mentioned. Now, Joe, just before I let you go, I want to give you the opportunity to give any of our listeners your Twitter handle, your Instagram account, so they can follow your journey.
So my Instagram, Snapchat, and Twitter are all the same. It's Joe Fournier Club, JoeFournier Club, CLUB. I run them all myself. I'm mainly more on Instagram and Snapchat, but I try and post as much as I can. And if anyone has any questions or feel free to drop me a message. And then if you have any inquiries for anything else, my management is on there too. And it's a real privilege for you guys to have me on the show. For someone that's starting out, it's really kind of you, and I really respect you guys for doing that.
Thank you very much, Joe. It's been my pleasure. Listen, I wish you the best of luck going ahead with the future, and I'm sure that we'll speak again soon.
Thank you, buddy. Appreciate it.
Okay, now just before part one ends, we've of course brought you in this part of the show, we've brought you the review part, then we spoke to Joe Fournier. We're now going to welcome our second guest that was also on the David Haye undercard. It's the undefeated heavyweight prospect, the first round knockout king, I think they're calling him at the moment. It's a very, very, very chilled out and relaxed Nick Webb. Nick, welcome to the show.
Hello, man. You good?
Very good, my friend. You?
Good. Yeah, I'm very good, man. I'm just chilling in the weather. Nice sun outside at the minute. Lovely.
Sounds good. So, of course, you fought on the Haye undercard. How did it feel in there on Saturday night for you, Nick? Of course, you had your five first round knockouts prior to this. It's the first time you've gone the distance. How did it feel?
Oh, mate. So that was my first time on the Haye undercard and first time fighting at the O2. So the arena for me, was amazing experience. To walk, I got there first before everyone was there, and looked at the ring and had a little walk around and took it all in and thought, this is big. So from then, I went in a change of rooms and chilled out until it was fight time. Had Jose Romero come in and wish me good luck. That was crazy. And then we walked out for the fight. And as you said, it was my first time going the distance. But it was great to go the distance because it was to get the experience. I needed that experience. And to have that in my sixth fight was awesome.
Now, to have, an experienced man in your corner in Scott Welch, how is that? Because, of course, there's a lot of trainers these days who who have fought. They've been pro fighters. Some of them have, some of them hasn't. Some of them haven't been very good. Scott Welch was a good heavyweight in his day. How key is it to have that experience in your corner, Nick?
I had a few offers to turn pro at the beginning, and Scott was one of them, and that was a no-brainer. Like, to come with Scott Welch. As you said, he was a good heavyweight, and he's British champion, Commonwealth champion, and I knew I could learn so much from him. So having him in my corner it puts me up there even more. Got that experience. He's been there. He's done it himself. So he knows what he's talking about. He knows when we're training, what we're training for.
Now, Nick, what sort of heavyweights have you sparred? Like, names that we may know. Is there anyone you sparred that we may know?
Sparred Dirk Chisora a few times. Sparred Richard Towers, an Italian heavyweight, under 18-0 heavyweight. Yeah, quite a few amateurs. As an amateur, I sparred with Michael Scott and some of the old school guys.
But still good competition. So have you got any idea when you're out next, Nick?
I'm trying to get out in June, so I want to be straight back out. Straight out. We're trying to get some dates and venues, but we're working towards coming out again in June.
So ideally, how many times would you like to fight this year?
I want to at least get to 10-0 by the end of the year. So I've had I'm 6-0 now, so 4 more at least by the new year.
Now, in your division, it's a brilliant division to be in right now, especially in Britain. Of course, you've got the likes of Joshua, Fury. Of course, we're close to the Fury-Klitschko rematch. Nick, how do you see that fight going the second time round?
Fury's in Klitschko's head, definitely. He's great at these mind games he's playing. He's trying to tell everyone he's not fit and he's not bothered by this fight, but he is. He's bothered by it, and he's training hard for it. He's dropping weight quick. I see the fight going exactly the same, to be honest. Maybe even a stoppage from Fury.
And I just want to ask you, of course, you say you want to move to 10-0 this year. You're very much still on that learning curve. You haven't been a pro for too long. In your second year, ideally, so 2017, what would you like to accomplish in that year in a realistic world as well?
In a realistic world, this time next year, I want to be looking for the British title. Definitely, it's realistic, and I can definitely see myself winning that. But that's my goal. Do
you want me to tell you who I'd like to see you fight right now? I'm not saying that either of you are at this level. I'm sure you're both surpassed this level, but a fight I'd like to see you in with, Dave Allen. I think that's a good fight for you two. I know that he's, of course, a little more experienced at the moment, but down the line, that'd be a good fight. Of course, he's undefeated as well.
Yeah, man, definitely. I'll fight anyone, right? And anyone that knows me knows that. And Dave Allen, he's another good prospect. So that's how it goes, isn't it? Good prospects got to face each other down the line sometime.
Now, Nick, just before I let you go, I wanted to give you a chance if there's anyone to thank at all, and of course, any message for any of your fans that may be listening to this interview.
Yeah, man, I definitely have a lot of thank yous to go around. I'd like to thank, first of all, Scott Welch for taking me on, giving me this great opportunity he's given me, and all the work and hours he puts into me. My personal trainer, Matthew Effington, he runs me into the ground every day and trains me hard through strength and conditioning. I'd like to thank my sponsors, Steve Dudman and Prime PTs, the Shaw Group, the strong ladies supporting me. So, thank you.
Excellent stuff. Now, if anybody wants to follow your journey on Twitter or Instagram, are you on any of them? If so, what's your username so people can follow your journey?
Yeah, I'm on Instagram and Twitter, both It's a Nick Ting, all one word.
All right, Nick, listen, thank you very much for giving us a bit of time this close after your fight. I hope you do get out and get as regular as you want to be this year, and we wish you all the best. So I'll speak to you again soon.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it.
Okay, now it's time for part 2 on this week's show, of course, the preview part of the show. We're going to start over in France. This is happening on Friday. Hassan N'Dam, he's going to be joining us very, very shortly. He is fighting Robert Schwibinski. Now, Robert Schwibinski has a record of 16 wins, 5 losses and 1 draw. This is no sort of great or big fight for Hassan N'Dam. It's purely one to keep himself busy. Hassan N'Dam with a record of 32-2. And like I say, it's only an 8-rounder, and we'll be speaking to him very, very soon, but I'm sure he'll pick up an easy win here. This is taking place in Paris, of course. That's it for France. We're now going to go over to Scotland. This is on the Saturday. Top of the bill, Ricky Burns. He's facing Michele De Rocco. Now, of course, De Rocco with a record of 40 wins, 1 loss and 1 draw. Ricky Burns, 39 wins, 5 losses and 1 draw. This is for the vacant WBA World Super Lightweight title. If Ricky Burns wins this, he picks up his 3rd world title in 3 weight divisions. So, Ayaz, what do you think about this fight? Because, of course, Ricky Burns, he's been in a lot of fights now. This will be his 46th professional fight. Again, Michele De Rocco, this will be his 43rd professional fight. Ricky Burns, of course, I'd say is mixed at a higher level than De Rocco, but do you reckon Ricky Burns can go out and do this? I know it's, of course, there's a lot on his shoulders in terms of Scottish boxing at the moment. If he was to win this, it would really do a lot for the country. I know he really wants to win this fight for all those Scottish fans. Do you think he's going to be able to do it, Ayaz? What do you reckon?
I reckon he's going to do it because he's fighting in his hometown of Glasgow, isn't he? And obviously, all the fans are going to be rooting there for him. And obviously, we've seen Ricky Burns fights like the Crawford. Obviously, he got beat by Crawford, but if he wins this trial, he's going to make history within Scottish boxing. So I've got a feeling Ricky Burns is going to win this by points.
Yeah, I hope he does, because I've seen him perform really badly, and then I've seen him perform out of his skin. So it really depends what Ricky Burns turns up. I think there might be motivational issues, or I know he had a lot going on outside of the ring. There was a lot of stuff going on legally and stuff like that we're not really going to delve into too much. But Ricky Burns now, hopefully, if he can't get up for this fight, then he can't get up for any fight. Also on that bill, Tyrone Nurse, he's defending his British super lightweight title against Willie Limon. This would be a good little fight. Tyrone Nurse 32-2 with the 1 draw. Willie Limon 39-4. Like I say, this will be a good fight. Tyrone Nurse, a good fighter. Also on that bill, John Lewis Dickinson, he's fighting Tommy McCarthy. John Lewis Dickinson 17-4. Tommy McCarthy 8-0. Also on the bill, Joe Ham, he's out again. He looks to move to 8-0. He's in a 6-round clash at super bantamweight. Also on that bill, Conor Benn, of course, the son of Nigel Benn. He looks to move to 2-0. It's only his 2nd professional contest. He's fighting a guy called Luke Kaleha. Of course, this is only a 4-rounder, but Conor Benn showing that he wants to, perhaps fight quite a bit this year. He fought on the AJ undercard on his debut, of course. And here he is, literally a couple of months later, out again over in Scotland. So really showing us that he wants to fight quite a lot and keep pretty active this year. Also on the bill, Scott Cardle, he looks to pick up his 20th career win. He's only in a 6-rounder at lightweight. His opponent yet to be announced. John Ryder gets out again. His opponent yet to be announced. It's only a 6-rounder. John Ryder 22-2. And Anthony Ogogo, he's been out for a long time with injury. He's in his 9th professional contest. It's a 6-rounder, and his opponent yet to be announced as well. Okay, that's it for the UK. We're now going to fly over to Arizona, USA. Top of the bill, David Avanesyan, 21-1 with the 1 draw. He's defending his interim WBA World Welterweight title against Sugar Shane Mosley. Sugar Shane Mosley, 49 wins, 9 losses and 1 draw. This will be a good fight for David. We'll be speaking to him very, very shortly, but I know he's very confident going into this fight. So we wish him all the best. It's going to be a tough test, but the bookies have got David Avanesyan, the favourite, and Sugar Shane Mosley is the underdog. That fight will be getting shown on Box Nation. I believe it starts at 3 a.m. Saturday night, Sunday morning. So that'll be a good fight, and I will definitely be tuning in. And that's it for Saturday. So there's not a load of stuff going on Saturday, but we're now going to go over to Sunday. This is taking place over at the Goodison Park Stadium. If you didn't already know, the home of Everton FC, top of the bill. It's just like the dream. It's just like the film Creed, of course. Tony Bellew, top of the bill, fighting for the vacant WBC World Cruiserweight title. Tony Bellew 26-2 with the one draw, facing Ilungu Makabu 19-1. This is going to be a really good fight. So if Tony Bellew manages to beat Makabu, I should say, he will become world champion, and it'll be a good win for Bellew. Of course, I know he's had the 2 shots at the title, and both times he's come up short. This really will be a dream come true, and I like Bellew a lot, to be honest. I really do, and I hope he does do it. But he's a hard hitter, Bellew. Makabu's actually a hard hitter as well. I think it's going to probably be a stoppage for Tony Bellew here. Ayaz, how do you see this fight going between Bellew and Makabu?
I personally reckon this is a tough fight for Bellew, right? Obviously, Makabu's only got 1 loss here, and he's got 19 wins by 18 knockouts, right? If I have to say, I'm going to go for a Bellew win because it's at his hometown. And if I'm going to go for a Bellew win on points.
You're going to go for points. I'm going to go for knockout. We'll see how we fare on that. But yeah, Makabu, good fighter. And this is a good test for him as well, because if he gets a good win over Bellew, which he's coming here to do so, he's definitely not coming here to lay down. So if he does get that win, that puts him on, a high pedestal type of thing, so to speak. So he can really make a mark here, and this is his chance as well as Bellew's. But I really just can't see Bellew being denied in Everton, like Everton's ground. He supports Everton, and being able to fight in the middle of that pitch is just, could you imagine? It's just an absolute dream come true. So I'm happy for him. The whole occasion is fantastic. I just hope he can do it under the lights on the night. Now, moving down the undercard, Callum Smith, he looks to pick up his 20th career win. It's only an 8-rounder. He faces Cesar Hernan Reynoso. It's not a great opponent. This guy's got a record of 14 wins, 7 losses and 3 draws. Callum Smith will probably win this fight quite handily by knockout, in my opinion. So, again, I don't know much about his opponent, but it's literally just, I don't think anyone's had loads and loads of notice for that fight. So it's just one of those ones where he's jumped on the bill because it's happening in Liverpool, of course, the fight. So Callum Smith, it's good to see him out again, of course, and it's a great weekend of boxing on Sky Sports, Saturday and Sunday. Also on the bill, Sean Masher Dodd fighting for the vacant WBC International Lightweight title against Pascual De Silvio. Now, De Silvio boasts a record of 20 wins, 7 losses and 1 draw. Sean Masher Dodd, 10 wins, 2 losses and 1 draw. Kofi Yates is also on the bill in his 15th professional contest. He faces Tom Farrell over 10 rounds at super lightweight. Stephen Smith, he's back from his loss to Pedraza. He gets out again on this card with his brother Callum, and Stephen Smith with a record of 23 wins, 2 losses, and he faces Daniel Eduardo Brizuela, who has a record of 28 wins, 5 losses and 2 draws. It could actually be pretty interesting, but I think Stephen Smith will be able to get the win here. This is for the vacant WBC Silver Super Featherweight title, so I'm sure Stephen Smith will get another crack at the title probably within 12 months, I'd say. Paul Smith's also on the bill, so 3 of the Smith brothers on this card, 3 of the 4. So Paul Smith with a record of 36 wins and 6 losses. It's only a 6-rounder as well. It's in the super middleweight division. Zasult Dudas is his opponent with a record of 15 wins and 2 losses. I'm going for 3 Smith brothers to get 3 wins on this card. Also on the bill, David Price. He looks to get his 20th career win. He's got the 3 losses, so 19-3 going into this fight. He's fighting Jakov Gospic, who has a record of 17 wins and 14 losses. A few of those losses have come by knockout as well. He got knocked out by Derek Chisora. I believe he's been knocked out by a few other guys as well. Some of the names have slipped me, but yeah, this is an 8-rounder. I think David Price will win this fight by knockout for sure. So yeah, it'd be nice to see him in his first fight working with Dave Caldwell though, so I'm interested to see how that works out for David Price. And that's really it for the previewing. That's the Friday, the Saturday and the Sunday, all done for the previewing. We're now going to welcome our third guest. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome our next guest on this week's show. It's the former WBO middleweight champion of the world, Hassan N'Dam. Hassan, welcome to the show.
Yeah, how you doing?
Very good. How are you doing?
I'm good. I'm good. You know, boxing. I'm busy in training right now for my next fight Friday.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Okay, excellent stuff. Now you're fighting on Friday, like you just said, in Paris.
Yeah.
This guy, the guy that you're fighting, like yourself, he's fought David Lemieux. He's also fought Chris Eubank Jr. I believe you're a level above this opponent, to be honest. Is this just a stepping stone to another shot at a major title?
Yeah. It's just a opponent to keep in shape and go up in the classification, because my goal, I want to become a world champion again. So that's only the step to be what I want to be.
Do you know much about your opponent? How much when you fight a guy who is like a level down from what you are, what you operate at, and some of the other opponents that you fought, how different is it? Like in the build up to the fight, how like training as well, how different is it? How do you prepare for a big fight compared to preparing for someone who's like this level kind of thing?
You know, I don't prepare this guy. I prepare about the top guy, the top fighters. So this guy is only the step. You know, he make me be keep in shape, and it's my second time I fight in Paris. Though, so since 4 years I didn't fight in Paris. So I want to keep the contact with my fans in France. So I know that right now the middleweight division is busy. So I want to keep in shape for that because we don't know. Maybe tomorrow they can call me to fight some tough guys. So I need to be ready for that.
Without looking past this opponent, when are you likely to get back in like the world title picture? So I think the answer to that question probably is as soon as they ring your phone, no?
Yeah, I think soon as possible, because right now I don't have an opportunity to fight a tough guy to be a world champion again. But I know that right now the middleweight division needs somebody who can put a show, who can keep who can keep that division in shape. So I will be ready for that. If they call me, I will be ready.
Now, is there anyone in particular that you've got your eye on? Is there anyone in particular that you want to fight in your division at the moment?
You know, right now they talk about Curtis Stevens against David Lemieux. Why the winner I can take the winner for that. You know, I fought David Lemieux for some difficulty that everybody knows. You know, the ring, the situation for the purse beat, for the promoter. You know, I have too many things that happen for that fight. That's why I don't fight very well, very good like I want. But you know, the next time will be different for that. So right now I have somebody in my head for my goal is Triple J. Triple J is the best for me, is the best for that division. And I want to fight the best right now. And I think I can do it. I have a boxing to fight him, and I'm the smart boxer. I'm smart guys, and he don't fight the guys like me. You know, I know that he's very tough boxer, but I want to fight him. That's my high goal. But right now, for to have some fighter right now, I can I say I want to fight against Curtis Stevens or David Lemieux. Make that fight happen.
You fought both of them. You didn't come off the better man on the night against Lemieux. You beat Curtis Stevens pretty well. You knocked him down as well, of course. Who do you think would win that fight if that fight does happen between Lemieux and Curtis Stevens?
Oh, it will be a tough fight. I want to see that fight. I know that Lemieux is a strong fighter. He have a good punch, but Curry Stevens too have a good punch. Curry Stevens is a smart guy. So it will be. I think it will be a good fight, and I want to see that fight. I want to see who will win that fight, because I fight the both of that, but I don't know who can win that fight. I don't know, so I want to see that.
I wanted to get your opinion on a fighter from Great Britain at the moment. Maybe, I'm not sure if you've seen much of him. You probably have, actually. Chris Eubank Jr., do you know much about him? If so, what's your opinion on him, Hassan?
Chris Eubank Jr. is a good boxer, technical boxer for that middleweight division. He are not strong boxer like David Lemieux or Triple J, but he have a style. He have a style. He have a level. He have a he on step. So I think he's a good boxer, good guys. So why I can fight him? He's a middleweight division to is a great boxer right now. So I can fight him?
The big piece of news in the middleweight division at the moment is the fact that Canelo vacated his title and Golovkin has now been promoted to the full WBC champion. So, what's your opinion on that? Do you think? I mean, obviously, it's not good for boxing that champions are vacating their titles. But do you think he wants that fight, Canelo, or do you think it's quite clear that he's running from Golovkin?
I think I know very well Golovkin, because Golovkin working with him before spar with him, and he talk about that sparring. He said Golovkin is strong and he punch for the two hands, and I think for that he don't want to take he don't want to take advantage for that. I think he know that it will be a strong fight for him. He fight a tough boxer that has Mayweather, but it's not the same like Golovkin. So I think he is scary for that. It's only we let's say things like he gonna be. I think he is scary for that fight, because if you want to be a top fighter, you need to fight the good fighter, the top fighter. If you want to be the best, you need to fight the best. So I think he's not a good fighter.
Yeah, that's a lot of people are saying that this week. It's not very good for boxing, but of course, you're saying that you would love to get that Golovkin fight. If you don't get that fight, because obviously that's your main dream at the moment. If you was to not get that fight, who would you like to see Golovkin fight next? If it's not going to be Hassan N'Dam?
Today you don't have a good fighter who can do a big fight with Golovkin. Today is very, very difficult to put Golovkin in the strong difficulty. So I don't know. I think Canelo will be was be the the best opponent to Golovkin to show him a power to. But right now, he will be Golovkin is the super boxer. He's the super champion for that division. I don't know if Jacobs can can be a good fighter for that world title unification, or Chris Eubank. I don't know. So it will be difficult to make the rematch for Lemieux or for Curry Stevens. It will be difficult to have an opponent today for Golovkin.
Now, I wanted to ask you about, obviously, you've been in a lot of big fights. What would you say was the hardest fight of your career?
The hardest fight for my career, I think it was After Curtis, because it was my first world championship, and for that I I have cut for the first and second round, so I don't see nothing, and I fight with my shadow, I fight with the shadow, so I move a lot for 12 rounds. I keep busy for 12 rounds. That was be my top fight in my career. So I remember for that every time, every day.
So it's a lesson that you learned something good out of, yeah?
Yeah.
Now, Hassan, how about? I mean, what do you think about? Of course, you're saying you'd like the winner of Lemieux and Stevens. If that fight happens, you'd like to fight Golovkin. Do you ever think about perhaps coming over to the UK and fighting Billy Joe Saunders? Of course, he's got the WBO title at the moment. Would you like that fight at all?
Yeah, I have opportunity to fight Billy Joe Saunders before, and the fight don't not happen because I want to have to fight first, to have the entry fight. So after that, I will like to have a world championship, but he was not. He can't wait for that because I have my entry fight in March 12. So he wants me to fight him in March 30. So April 30. So it cannot be happen. So I think it was be a good opportunity for me, but for the future, why not in the end of this year or in the debut of the next year? It's a good opportunity to go to UK to fight him.
And what is your opinion on Billy Joe? Do you think he's a good fighter?
Billy Joe is a good fighter. He have a own style. He's a southpaw boxer, so he have his own difficulty. He have a different style for boxing, and I think he waiting too much to work. So if you put him some pressure, he can lose. He have like 6 or 7 rounds. He cannot move for 12 round pressure. So I think is a fight. That fight can be happen, and he can stop. I can stop him. I can stop him too.
There's a lot of exciting boxers at the moment in boxing. What boxer do you enjoy watching most at the moment?
This moment, I love to watch Lomachenko because Lomachenko is a boxer. He play with boxing. I begin boxing since I was 6 years old, and my father learned me boxing like a play. And when I see Lomachenko fight, I think he's play with a boxer. So that is a real boxing. Real boxing is touch and not be touched, and Lomachenko do it very well. So for me, today after Mayweather, I think Lomachenko is super boxer.
Excellent stuff. Now, I just wanted to give you an opportunity to like any kind of message you've got for any of the UK fans, that are fans of yourself that may be listening.
I like to tell them that to follow me every time, everywhere. I working with Liam Smith every time, so I'm in the UK every time to work in there with Gallagher and all this stuff. So I think I hope that someday I can do something there in the UK. So let's follow me, and we can do something happen.
Absolutely. I hope it happens too. Okay, listen, Hassan, it's been an absolute pleasure having you on the show. I wish you the best of luck for Friday night, and hopefully we'll speak again soon.
Thank you. It was a pleasure.
Okay, so far on this show, we've already spoke to Joe Fournier and Nick Webb. We've just finished speaking to Hassan N'Dam. We like to keep it international here. If you didn't already know, we're now going to welcome our fourth guest. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome, defending his interim WBA welterweight world title against Shane Mosley on the weekend, it's David Avanesyan. David, welcome to the show.
Hello.
Hello, how are you? Very good.
Good, thank you. Thanks and listen for me.
No problem, no problem. The first question I've got for you, David, How did you get into boxing in the beginning?
Me for children, for maybe 11, 12 and starting for boxing. For my city, for Russia and Petigord. Many long time for amateur boxing. And 21 years me finish for professional boxing.
Okay. Now, of course, you're fighting on the 28th of May against Shane Mosley. How has your training been?
Me very good training and good time for my coach, for my every team, our team. Me good work, good training, me and very more sparring and Amir Patterson, Gary Gordner, sorry, and many people sparring, good fitness, good condition, and my coach, best coach, and Carl Greaves, my manager Neil Marsh, very good. My team. Me now ready. Tomorrow me fly for America, USA, and training good and fly. Me ready. Me fly. Finish. Me ready. Me fly and for fight for Mosley.
What are your thoughts on Shane Mosley, David?
And Mosley very big name and strong man, good boxer. And for me very happy. And for me, I want long time for good fight. A big fight, and thank you my manager and Neil Marsh and make decision good for fight. Me very happy, me very for fight for and my belt, check my belt.
Okay. Now, not including yourself, who is your favourite boxer to watch right now in boxing, David?
Oh, and now for me very difficult as this. Me think. Now many and good boxer and young boxer starting and me think my weather finish, Pacquiao finish. Me think now maybe Triple G, very good boxer, very strong, very me see Triple G for Panama, very good guy. Me nice guy, very no think me big boxer, very good and speak good. Every people for like big punch and good people, good boxer.
Sergey Kovalev, another good boxer.
Sergey Kovalev, very good boxer.
Yeah. Okay.
Big punch. And,
yeah, big puncher, very big puncher.
Many boxer. And Russia, English, for America, very more big boxer, power and strong. Now for me difficult. Before me children, before me Roy Jones, for me one Roy Jones, good Mike Tyson, Roy Jones. Now very more.
Yeah. Okay. Of course, you're the interim WBA welterweight champion. The super champion is Keith Thurman. He's got a tough fight coming up against Sean Porter. How do you see that fight going? Who do you see winning that fight, David?
Oh, good fight, and me think 60, 55 and 45. Me think and Thurman win. And
okay.
Porter power very walk and Thurman distance left good and good boxing. And difficult and boxing one power finish. Understand boxing very difficult. And me think and Thurman little maybe Thurman win.
Okay, Thurman win. Okay. If Muhammad Ali fought Mike Tyson, both guys in their prime, so the best Muhammad Ali against the best Mike Tyson, who do you think would win, David?
Oh, very, very big name for very respect for Mike Tyson, for Muhammad Ali. Very big name, very big boxer, good boxer. Me think me more fight see Tyson, no more fight see and Muhammad Ali. Maybe me children, maybe little. Me think Tyson very power, very fast, very strong. Me think Tyson win.
Okay. I love that question. That's the best question. And the last question I've got for you now, David, what can we expect from yourself on fight night, the 28th of May against Sugar Shane Mosley?
I won't speak and very good fight, strong fight, and me 100% we're ready, and I do my best Me, Mosley, and ring. No people, no two people. Me, Mosley.
Okay. May the best man win. Listen, David, I want to thank you for giving us a bit of your time before this huge fight. I hope you can go and get the win and keep moving to the top. No doubt we'll speak again soon. Until then, thank you very much, David.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you, and I promise next time is good English. Sorry.
No problem. Your English is good.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you.
Okay, now it's time to conclude episode 34 of the BoxHard Podcast. I've been your host, Joey Coastman. Ayaz Sumra has been Ayaz Sumra. A massive thank you to our two guests that took part in part one, Joe Fournier and Nick Webb. A very, very relaxed Nick Webb, by the way. Also, in part two, we spoke to David Avanesyan, who takes on Shane Mosley on Saturday. A massive thank you to David Avanesyan for coming on the show, and we wish you the best of luck. Also, a special thank you to Neil Marsh, who helped David Avanesyan with his English. He done really well, in my opinion. And also, we spoke to, fighting on Friday, this Friday, I'm sure he's going to come through his fight with flying colours as well, Hassan N'Dam. So a massive thank you to Hassan N'Dam and a massive good luck here from the BoxHard Podcast. And of course, a massive, massive thank you, the biggest thank you of all, to the listeners that make this show what it is. We brought you 4 guests on this week's show. Usually we bring you 2 per show. We brought you 4. The only time we've ever done that before was on the Christmas special, the 2015 Christmas special, where we brought you Lee Selby, Andrew Selby, Prince Charles Martin and Eric Molina, if I remember correctly. This has been a little treat for all those recent views and listens. Thank you very much for tuning in once again, and we'll be back next week with another big show. Until then, my friends, take care.